You're at dinner with 6 friends you've known since school. When the check arrives, it's $340, and someone suggests splitting it evenly. You agree without hesitation, but you've already checked your banking app. You know that $48 puts you in the negative until Friday. You stay quiet and pay, hiding the calculation running in your head. This chart explains why that pressure is so widespread. While the average American household net worth is over $1 million, that figure is skewed by a trainee group at the very top. The median net worth, the actual middle of the story, is closer to $192,000. Most families are one major repair away from a very difficult month. Accumulating capital is a slow process, but the money itself is the least interesting part. The real story is watching institutions and social circles rearrange themselves around you as your net worth climbs. There are 3 invisible thresholds where the world flips from punishing your lack of capital to rewarding it. Charlie Munger famously called the first $100,000 a bitch. He argued that you have to do whatever is necessary to reach that mark, walking everywhere or clipping every coupon, because of what happens once you cross it. At this level, banking algorithms stop extracting wealth and start protecting it. High-yield accounts and preferred interest rates on auto loans become the new baseline, as institutions decide you are worth being nice to. This equation, the rule of 72, shows the exact moment compounding begins to work in your favor. Divide 72 by a standard 7% return, and you find that your money doubles every 10 years. The doubling schedule is the same for everyone, but the actual dollar amounts change. A 7% return on $10,000 is a few $100. On $100,000, that same return generates $7,000 a year while you sleep. The snowball is finally large enough to move on its own. You'll notice a subtle social shift here. You stop stressing over the price of the menu, but a quiet wedge begins to form with friends who are still sweating over the dinner bill. $100,000 provides breathing room rather than luxury. It statistically removes you from the most financially fragile demographic in the country. The $1 million mark is the second line. Because of inflation, this level no longer buys the private jets or yachts of the 1990s. It generates roughly $40,000 a year in passive income, enough for comfort, but not for excess. This is where banks stop treating you like an account number and assign you a human being. Private client status means fee waivers, a dedicated personal advisor, and preferred lending rates designed to keep your assets in their ecosystem. $1 million is the threshold for a securities-backed line of credit, the defining financial mechanic of this tier. This strategy allows the wealthy to access cash without selling their assets. Instead of liquidating stock and triggering a massive tax bill, you borrow against your portfolio. Because the full portfolio remains invested, its market growth tends to outpace the cost of the low-interest loan. You get to spend your wealth while your balance continues to climb. Social friction escalates at this level. Family members may begin expecting financial favors, and friends often make assumptions about your ability to cover every shared expense. Crossing $1 million is the point where the financial system stops charging you the poor person tax and begins actively protecting your wealth. The $5 million tier is known as freedom money. At this stage, opportunities like private equity and off-market real estate find you, rather than you having to seek them out. This level removes every ounce of professional leverage your boss might have had. You can negotiate from a state of total calm because you genuinely do not need the income to survive. But scaling to this height brings psychological risks, including sudden wealth syndrome. It can trigger guilt, paranoia, and decision paralysis as your life struggles to adjust to the new scale of your resources. You may also encounter the crab bucket mentality. When one person climbs out of their social circle, those left behind instinctively try to pull them back down to avoid confronting their own stagnation. Crossing this line removes your financial limits, but it also creates a unique social isolation. When old friends suddenly remember your birthday and cousins pitch can't-miss business opportunities, the distinction between a real relationship and a transaction begins to fade. At this apex, you often find that total financial freedom costs you the ability to trust a person's motives without a second thought. Your brain normalizes new wealth in about a month and immediately demands the next tier. The goalposts sprint away from you at the exact speed you approach them. Wealth is entirely relative. Someone with $2 million can look at a person with $10 million and feel poor, creating a cycle with no natural endpoint. The machine was never reacting to you, it was reacting to the number on the screen. The ultimate goal is defining what enough means for your life before the system defines it for you. True victory is reaching your personal number and choosing to stop, keeping your peace untouched by the machine.